Ah, my dear, come here and settle beside me. Today, I have something very special to share with you. Something that only experience and time can offer. Imagine, if you will, an old wise woman with a soul full of stories and lessons that life has taught me, ready to bestow upon you a treasure of wisdom. What you are about to hear is not just a collection of reflections and tips, but the true legacy of a life lived with depth and attentiveness. Each word, each piece of advice I have for you is like a gentle light that can illuminate the dark corners of your heart and bring clarity to your doubts. You will see how these pearls of wisdom can transform your life in ways you might never have imagined. This is not just a conversation, but an invitation to dive into a sea of knowledge that can enrich your journey and give new meaning to your steps. So, dear one, prepare yourself for a journey through the lessons life has taught me, and discover how they might be the key to unlocking a richer and more fulfilling life. Together, let us explore the legacy of an old wise woman and perhaps find the answers you've been seeking. But before that, just make sure you're subscribed to the channel to receive more content like this. My dear, let this old wise woman tell you something important about words and the right time to use them. When you feel that urge to argue, to put your point of view on the table, it's essential to first pause and think carefully. Not everyone has the heart and mind ready to understand what you want to say. Some people, due to a lack of maturity, are so closed off in their own ideas that they're like rocks the wind cannot move. If you notice that the person before you doesn't yet have the wisdom to accept that there are other viewpoints, like a vase not ready to hold more water, then, my child, it's better to keep your voice. Because, you see, arguing with someone who lacks the maturity to understand is like trying to plant a seed in dry soil. You'll only waste your energy and tire yourself out without reaping any benefits. Thus, it is wise to choose carefully the battles you wish to fight. There are moments when silence and patience are your best allies. Wisdom isn't just in knowing what to say, but also in recognizing when the ground isn't ready for the conversation. And, my child, this is something learned only with time and much observation. So the next time you feel the urge to argue, remember, assess if the person is ready to listen and understand. If they are not, save your words and hold them for a more opportune moment. After all, those with wisdom know that true power is not in winning arguments, but in knowing when it's better to avoid them. Ah, my child, let me share a truth that only time and life's storms can teach. True strength, the kind that isn't visible to the eyes alone, isn't in never falling, but in getting up every time you are knocked down. You see, living is like navigating seas that are sometimes calm and sometimes turbulent. It's not the boat that never faces storms that is the strongest, but the one that, even when damaged, manages to repair itself and move forward. When life throws you against the rocks and you feel everything has crumbled, that is when your true strength is revealed. It's not about never feeling pain or sadness, but about finding within yourself the courage to piece yourself back together and emerge stronger and wiser. Those with inner strength understand that every fall is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to show the world that, despite everything, you are still standing. So, my dear, always remember, strength isn't in never being destroyed, but in having the courage to rebuild, even when it seems there is no hope left. It is in the act of reconstructing, brick by brick, that true strength is manifested. And that, my child, is something no one can ever take from you. Ah, my child, listen well to what this old wise woman has to say. Trying to lead a positive life while carrying a mind full of negative thoughts is like trying to fill a bucket with holes. No matter how hard you try, no matter how much effort you put in, the water will leak out and the bucket will never fill. In the same way, it's futile to seek joy, peace, and happiness if your mind is trapped in shadows, filled with doubts, fears, and discouragements. True change, the kind that brings light to life, begins within, in your mind. If you want things around you to flourish, you first need to pull out the weeds of your thoughts. Planting flowers in a garden that is still full of thorns is pointless. You need to clear, till the soil, and prepare the ground with care and attention. Only then can the seeds of positivity take root and grow strong. So, my child, if you truly wish to live positively, first look within and change your mindset. Let go of the thoughts that drag you down, that make you doubt your worth. Remember, the mind is the soil where all things grow. If you nurture it, watering it with good intentions, hope, and love, life will bloom in ways you never imagined. Don't deceive yourself thinking you can live well without adjusting what goes through your mind. True transformation begins when you understand that the world around you is a reflection of what you carry inside. Change your mind, my child, and you will see how life changes along with it. In this journey called life, much will change over time. The tides rise and fall, the seasons come and go, and the people around you also change like leaves in the wind. But there is something that never changes, something more precious than gold and stronger than storms. The principles you carry in your heart and the morals you choose to follow. These principles, my dear, are like the deep roots of an ancient tree. No matter how fierce the wind, if the roots are firm, the tree remains standing. Principles are what guide you, even when the world seems upside down. They are the north on your compass, the one that never fails, no matter how lost the path may seem. And when you have solid principles, morality becomes the trail you follow, a trail that always leads you in the right direction. But, oh my child, let me tell you something even deeper, more intimate. Your conscience. This is the voice that speaks softly inside you, but which you can never ignore. No matter where you are or what you're doing, your conscience is that companion that never abandons you. You might try to deceive others, pretend you're not seeing, but from yourself you can never hide anything. Conscience is like a mirror that reflects who you really are, without filters, without masks. If you live according to your principles and with a firm moral, then you can lay your head on the pillow at night in peace. For you will know, deep down in your heart, that you did what was right, even when no one was watching, even when it was difficult. But if at any point you stray from this path, know that your conscience will not let you rest. It will nudge you, whisper in your ear, remind you of what is just, what is right, what is true. And so, my child, it is your conscience that brings you back to the path of honesty and integrity. Always remember, it is not what others think of you that truly matters. What matters is what you know, deep down, when you are alone with your thoughts. Because, in the end, true peace of mind comes from knowing that you lived according to your principles, that you followed your moral code, and that despite the challenges, you never strayed from the path your conscience illuminated. Take good care of your principles, strengthen your moral code, and treat your conscience as the most valuable treasure you possess. For, my child, it is your conscience that will guide you in the most difficult moments and give you the strength to move forward, always with your head held high and your heart at peace. You have heard of courage, haven't you? Well, know that there are two types of courage, and each has its place and time. External courage, the kind people often see and admire, is what you need to face death. It is the bravery that emerges in moments of danger, when life is hanging by a thread, and you need to be strong, to show the world that you are not afraid to face the inevitable. This courage is like the shine of a sword in battle, brilliant and powerful, but fleeting like a flash of lightning. But, my child, let me tell you about a courage that is even harder to find and practice. Internal courage. This is not for facing death, no. It is for facing life, day after day, with all its challenges, sorrows, and uncertainties. Internal courage is what lifts you out of bed on mornings when everything seems lost, when your heart is heavy and the world seems dark. It is silent, unobtrusive, but as strong as the roots of a great tree that supports all that you are. Facing life requires a bravery that few recognize. It's the courage to continue when things go wrong, to hold on to hope when everything seems hopeless, to believe in yourself when no one else does. It's the strength to forgive, to start over, to love again, even after being hurt. It's the courage to be kind in a world that is often cruel, to be truthful when lies seem easier, to keep going even when the path is long and full of obstacles. So, my dear, never underestimate the importance of internal courage. For you see, facing death is an act of great valor, but facing life, with all it brings, requires a courage that only those who have lived a lot and faced many challenges can truly understand. External courage shines for a moment, but internal courage, it is what truly sustains the soul and allows us to continue, day after day. Cultivate this strength within you, for it is what will accompany you in the toughest times and give you the resilience to move forward, always with dignity and faith. In life, we often feel disappointed, sad, as if the world has turned its back on us. But let me tell you something important. True disappointment does not come from others, but from the idealizations we create in our own minds. You see, the mind is a weaver that sometimes deceives us, crafting expectations and perfect images that do not match reality. We cling to these idealizations, dreaming of what could be, of how things should happen. But life, my child, life follows its own course, and people are as they are, not as we wish them to be. When you realize this, when you understand that disappointment stems from what you expected and not from what actually is, a great weight is lifted from your heart. Then, peace begins to take hold. Accepting people and situations for what they truly are, without trying to mold them to your expectations, is a giant step towards finding inner peace. Because, you see, my child, no one is perfect, not even you. We all have our flaws, our moments of weakness. And when you learn to accept this, to view the world with eyes of understanding rather than demands, disappointment starts to lose its power. So always remember, dear one, the key to peace lies in self-acceptance, in understanding that idealizations are like passing clouds. They come and go, but they do not reflect reality. When you free yourself from them, you begin to see the world with more clarity and compassion. And it is in that moment that true peace, the kind that comes from within, starts to blossom in your heart. In life, many search for happiness as if it were a hidden treasure, believing that it lies in others, in possessions, or worse yet, in the misfortune of others. But listen well, true happiness will never take root in a heart that feeds on the sadness of others. It is like trying to quench your thirst with salt water. The more you seek, the emptier you feel. If you base your joy on someone else's suffering, my child, what you find is not true happiness but a fragile illusion that crumbles at the slightest breeze. The happiness worth seeking, the kind that fills the heart and lights up the soul, comes from within, from love, compassion, and genuine joy for the well-being of others. There is no lasting joy in watching someone fall or in taking advantage of another's misfortune. Such joy is but a shadow, lacking substance and truth. True happiness is like a flame you kindle within yourself, burning brighter as you help others find their own light. It is a contentment that grows when you see the smile of someone you have helped, when you feel the peace of having done what is right, even if no one else knows. This happiness is solid and real, and it does not depend on what happens around you but on what you cultivate within yourself. So, my dear, never seek your happiness in the misfortune of others. That path leads to more emptiness, more pain. Instead, build your joy on solid foundations, on love, kindness, and true connection with others. For the happiness that comes from doing good and seeing good in others is the kind that never fades, even on the darkest days. Life, my dear, is like a long road, full of ups and downs, unexpected turns, and mandatory stops. But what you need to understand is that this journey is not just about reaching a destination, but about learning, growing, and becoming the best version of yourself. Every step you take, every stone on the path, every challenge you face, all of it is part of a grand lesson. And look, life is not easy for anyone, but that is precisely what makes it a great teacher. It teaches you to be strong, to be resilient, and, above all, to be wise. Now, let me tell you about wisdom, my child. Wisdom is not just about knowing things. It's not just about accumulating years and experiences. Wisdom is about understanding what life is trying to teach you, having the humility to recognize your flaws, and the courage to correct them. It's knowing that, even in the hardest moments, there is something you can learn, something that can make you a better person. This journey of learning and self-improvement is a constant walk. Never settle, thinking that you know it all, for life always has more to teach you. And personal wisdom, that is the key to facing challenges with grace and dignity. It is what gives you the strength to rise after falls, to move forward with a light heart, even when the road is tough. Remember, my child, life is not about reaching the end without scratches, but about rising stronger after every fall, wiser after every mistake. The journey is long, but each step taken with wisdom brings you closer to becoming the person you truly wish to be. So, keep walking, learning, and improving, because, in the end, the true victory in life is growing in wisdom and becoming someone you can be proud of. Let me share a truth that this old sage has learned through years and experiences. Time, my child, is a precious gift, and once it passes, it never returns. It is like a river that flows continuously, carrying away everything that has been. And you, just as I have, must learn to use that time wisely. Investing your time is like choosing the seeds you plant in the garden of your life. Choose to spend your days with people who truly value and respect you. These are the flowers that will make your garden bloom with joy and love. People who lift you up, understand you, and help you grow are like the sun and water that make your plants thrive. Don't waste your time on those who only bring clouds and storms. Time does not return, and every moment spent with those who do not value you is a moment you can never get back. Always remember, you are the guardian of your own destiny. The choices you make about whom you spend your time with will shape your path and your future. If you surround yourself with people who don't bring you joy, you will only find thorns and stones along the road. So, choose wisely. Give your time and heart to those who deserve it. Invest in relationships that make you feel loved and respected, that help you grow and become the best version of yourself. Because, my child, time is short and precious. Don't waste it on those who do not bring you happiness. Use it to build a life filled with love, respect, and good company. And thus, when you look back, you will see that the choices you made were worthwhile, and that the time you had was well spent. My young one, listen to the advice of a soul who has walked many paths and seen many seasons. In the dance of life, I have learned that true strength is not revealed in the bravery of facing dangers, but in the serenity of rebuilding oneself after storms. Wisdom does not come from books or grand speeches, but from the patience to accept what we cannot change and the courage to transform what is within our reach. The mind and heart are our greatest allies. If we want to harvest true happiness, we must cultivate a positive mindset and accept that disappointments often arise from our own expectations. The value of time is immeasurable. It is the fabric of our existence and should be invested in relationships that uplift us and in moments that enrich us. Remember, life is an eternal learning experience. Every challenge is a disguised teacher, and every mistake is a disguised lesson. Have the courage not only to face great challenges but also to seek true inner peace. For it is in the balance between accepting what is and striving for what can be that we find true fulfillment. And thus, with a light heart and a strong spirit, you will find your way, young one. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with your friends. Also, check out our previous video on extraordinary life lessons and advice from my wise grandmother that will surprise you, and explore our playlist to connect even more with the words of an old sage. Until next time, and stay strong on your journey.